Hello, my name is Artur Grzeszczak. I'm Code Tech QA from People Can Fly. By the way, this is my first talk on Geek, so please don't be too harsh. So I would like to talk about special improvement plan for employees that we have implemented in People Can Fly, and the plan that I'm part of as Tech QA myself. So since there's not much time and I would like to explain this as good as possible, I just get to the point. Just a quick disclaimer first. I will be talking and mentioning a lot of devs, and by devs, well, my experience comes from the code part of the development, but we have implemented this process in pretty much every department, so Tech QA, narrative. So when I talk about devs, I mean devs overall, not just programmers. Okay, so let's jump to this. So the idea for this talk came to me on last year Geek, when I was walking around the booths, talking with a lot of people. And one thing surprised me was that, well, everyone was looking for new people. Yeah, sure. And everybody was looking for as experienced developers as they could get. Well, yeah, no-brainer, right? So what's surprising about that? Well, the thing is, when I was talking with them, I wasn't necessarily asking about myself, but I had a friend who was an experienced graphic designer, was working in 3D graphics for years, but not in game dev. And he wanted to jump in, so I was asking on his behalf. And when I talked, I asked about like development or improvement, like how he can jump in your company, and the answers were, well, fiddly. So you have experienced guy with years of experience, no engine experience, and you're losing this potential because you don't know how to use it. So in general, there were two options I got. So one was, well, try to aim for the junior, but again, if you don't have no experience and don't know where to start, what to do, don't know the tools that they will be using, you may fall off, you may not get in. The second option, which was more natural to me because I choose that path myself, was to start from the QA, learn the team, learn the tools, learn as you go, and then jump up. Now that's natural for me, sure, but there's one particular problem. The QA doesn't do the same job that the developers do. So while he will be learning the tools, the work process, the people, he will not on his own or during work gain the skills and the knowledge to just push him up to this position. So, and I was asking about that. So do you have like plans for like, you know, uplifting the QA? And again, I haven't heard anything that would satisfy me. And this is the part that was really surprising for me, because at that point, we actually had a nice plan to get this solved. And for some reason, I couldn't find it anywhere else. So this is exactly the thing I would like to talk about. And this is the plan that we've been working for around 3 years now, implementing. And the process I'm talking about is simply putting another specialized position between those two. It works like a link between them, but also maybe more like a bridge, because by default, we would like this to be a position that helps you move from one position to another. And the positions that I'm talking about is, of course, Tech QA, Dev QA, and we have also Associate for the lead positions, which those are not completely new concepts. I know many companies use them, but the thing is, the way the People Can Fly implemented this putting the advanced process with as little resources, focus on just pushing them forcefully is something that I think we have nailed, and that's exactly what I want to discuss. So why is this so essential to success, and why it cannot fail? So to better explain this, let's just talk about how the tech and DevQA works for us, because that might be the main difference. And well, the concept in general is very simple. You have two positions that have huge gap between them in terms of skills. And when there's a gap like this, there will be tasks that QA without proper training is not able to handle. And if you put devs, because that's the only option you have to work on those tasks, then they are taken from the much more important, much more difficult tasks that they could be focusing in. And there's a lot of talking you may be familiar with. Well, that's something that could take me 5 minutes, right? Sure, this is a simple thing. But there might be 10, 20, 50 things like this. And every time you put a dev on the simple task, he needs to change his mindset. He needs to leave that task he was working on, and he needs to get back. So it's never like 5 minutes, really. So additional thing, sorry. So additional thing that makes this really cool, is that it builds great communication and a lot of trust between those two departments. Because priorly, because of this gap, you could have a huge communication gap, because the information the QA needed, for example, developers gave the good, proper technical information, but without technical skills, you may not get so much from them. So having a position that comes usually from QA, but not necessarily. We have people who just came into our company and jumped straight to the tech QA position with aim to go to the developers. But when you have people coming from QA, they know the work process, they know the people, they know what the QA needs to work, what kind of information, and having the technical knowledge allows you to discuss the issue with the developers on even terms. So like you are kind of working a bit like a translator between those two positions. And because you are helping both of them, you gain trust, and they are working better, more efficiently together. Okay, so let me just jump this. Okay, so now why I've said it cannot fail. Well, it simply cannot fail because, in short answer, we are talking about the improvement plan for people. So even if in the worst case scenario, if, for example, because there are some cases when you will have to dissolve this DevQA, which I will talk by the end, you will resign from this or just decide that there's not enough task for them, you will still end up with more experienced QA or new devs, and a lot of documentation additionally, which I will talk in a second again. And having this program in place not only, as I said, improves the processes, but and communication, but it allows also gives your QAs like something to look up onto. So they will not only trust you because you're helping them, you're guiding them, you have more information, more technical skills, you can help them get their job done better. But some of them will look up to this position and, okay, maybe it would be hard for me to get to a dev position, I would have to put a lot of work there, but maybe I can jump there, help work as a dev QA, learn, and then advance. This is more promising for them. So that's one thing. And I would like to now discuss, so I've explained how it works in general, what's the idea, so how it basically started for us. So I will explain this. I wrote this like half experience, how it was with half what should be done, like key points. So of course the process needs to start somewhere. In our case, it was actually a code. And then along the way, we involve other departments. Almost every department currently in People Can Fly have its own dev or tech QA. And this is the key point, because the main thing you need to start this up, you need one good person, like one ambitious, someone who wants to go. You have someone like, for example, who wants to go to code, and his ambition is he's on good path, for example, but he's not yet there. And like you can help him while he will be helping you. So what we ideally are looking for is not only the desire to advance, like I want to get there. That's not enough. That's a good start, but this needs to be followed with something. And ideally, of course, you don't need to have all those assets, but ideally, what you would like to have is experience, current technical skills, seniority, and communicative skills, because on this first person, there will be a lot on his shoulders. So you will be relying on his work done, and there's few things that he will need to make. So we'll cover them. So once we have this particular guy, and I'm assuming he's from QA, because that's the idea place, because he already knows the team, right? Getting someone from outside would be a bit tedious, and he would lose some time getting him to know the tools and things like that. And we ideally do not want that. We want this process to be smooth. So then we move him from QA lead directly to the lead of the department that he will be working on, because he needs to get the technical data, the task information from someone who knows what it's all about, has all the information. He also kind of joins the team, so he will be communicating with the devs, working together, making him like feel part of the team. And this is the part why I said that his experience and technical skills are important, because in the beginning, what we did, and I think what's best, is to simply give him the tasks that normally QA gets anyway from that department, but just give it to him. Just get used to this work. This is now your job. You do this. Now this is the beginning, and this is a simple part, because he already should be used to them. He was in QA, he was doing that. He now focuses on that and making sure it's as good as possible. So just honing those skills. So that's the easy part. Smart thing to do, for example, if you have a guy that you want to move there, you're like not mentioning that we will be doing this right now, but when you are planning this, just tip the creative, okay, just we have a potential candidate, just give him more this kind of tasks before we move with this officially. Just get him used to this. We want him to be familiar with the task, because, as I've said, he will be joining the developers team, and he needs to make good impression. We don't want this guy to be held by hand by everyone, or be a dead weight, or just asking, okay, so I can't do this. Let's get back. Just help me with this. He needs to make good impression. He needs to be the guy that will be cleaning doing the dirty job for them. So once we have that, we can, because this is the first step to specialization. He already is getting tunneled into this kind of job. So once he's doing that, only that, mostly, we need to get those tasks to be of higher quality. So previously, I'm just dropping some loose ideas. So when you had like QA doing, for example, walkarounds, giving notice like there's a FPS drop, there's some problems with this, we want now get more information, get the better format of the JIRAs, for example, if you're using this for bugs. Get the information in the way that will be clearer for the developer. So not just this area around the tree, there's a FPS drop. Now this map, this area in the editor with the screens with the code name or the asset name that's causing trouble. We are getting better information because this is, I've noticed this many times where sometimes developers, this is part of the miscommunication, requires something and the QA provides as good information as they can, but that's not necessarily what they are talking about. They might be talking about the same, for example, asset or the same part of the level, but because they're using different names, like they're missing this. So you need to get the information and provide the information that the developers understand. So when they get the issue, they know immediately, they don't waste time to asking again about this. They don't need to get back to you. You know what they need, you give that. So that we've honed that. That's one thing. Now there's another thing. We have a good feedback. Now we need to make a perfect feedback. So we are slowly upping up the game. So where previously we have focused on better description for the issue, for example, we now go further. So we ask, what tools do we have? Are there any nice debugs that we can use? Something that maybe developers often use, but the QA didn't use, for example, because it's maybe in engine and they rarely work there. Like, what else can I provide? Look for the issues. Because there's always things that developers use or the production users that usually do not need to use unless some specific cases. You gather all that. You get whatever need, all the nitty-gritty details for this. So not only you are providing well-written information, but you're adding something from yourself. So maybe you had, because of course, when we got requests from the developers, they were usually also simple, like, get me, like, I don't know, check this or that. And okay, you got there's FPS drops there, simple. What causes it? Is some VFX? Gather the stats, check what's causing it. Put not back to this guy, but mention him, okay, there's some VFX, old VFX like placeholder that causing issue. Assign it to the departments that's handling those things. Take the work that will be going back and forth, limit that. And with all the additional information, the technical information, now we're going into the more advanced stuff. So we are looking for as many the actual technical information that we can gather. So some work in the engine is necessary, sorry. And there's additional part to this. Because at this point, sorry, at this point, he should be involved also in, I think I skipped a slide, in making a documentation. Because you learn of some tools that are used in company, and sometimes there may be, okay, few people know about them, not everyone. So you know what developers need, what format of information, what exact information. Maybe this wasn't passed. They just like to get it in this way. Write this down, get a documentation, because this guy, we are still talking about this single guy, he's not just working for himself at this point. He's building the foundation for this tech QA. So whatever he does, this will be followed by others. So if he learns that there's a thing that we can gather that will help someone, get this as a standard process, get this documented. How, if new guy comes in, how he can get it. So he doesn't run around and look for this. Hey, is there something we can maybe else gather? No, there's everything in place. So when we'll have new people, they have easier work going through the process. And this doesn't apply only to the QA, actually, because this is the part, and this is the kind of knowledge, because we are talking about the debugs, the technical stuff, that also the developers will use. Because if, for example, you have a new junior or mid-level developer, he may not be familiar with the tools you use. So normally he would use ask lead, but if you don't know what you're asking for, you don't ask about this. And someone might think, well, that's obvious. I shouldn't tell him about this. And now you have documentation. You know what can be done. Okay, so we have the documentation. And at this point, he should feel very comfortable because he knows the team, he knows the developers, he's communicating back and forth with the QA. And we are starting to build a documentation with, and we have all the foundation in place. So now, now is the time to introduce more people to the team. And now this is where the path may vary, and it varied for us because we have teams that, simply put, do not have enough work for multiple tech QAs, and we have teams that require dozens. For example, code, because our code works also on a framework, and we work on all projects, so there's a lot of people. So the golden rule here is if you have like 2 or 3 people, because remember they are working on under the developer's lead, not with the QA. So if there's 2 or 3 people, leave them as it is. But if you're getting more and more people because they are necessary, that means there's a lot of tasks. You may want to add additional lead to them. So there's single person talking with the lead. So we are not adding him unnecessary work because he will probably have a lot on his head already. We don't want to swamp. We don't want to make this department ineffective because he will have to, add additional tasks. And the cool things about this is the ideal person for the lead is actually a first guy because he knows both sides. He introduced new dev QAs. He wrote the documentation himself, so he knows the technical aspect. And that's why I mentioned the communication skills, because already he was communicating with both sides, so he should be able to mentor new people. And this is a side path if he was aiming for the developer position. And we had a situation like this ourselves, when we had to put a guy on this position, introduce some new people, and once they were comfortable, he moved forward. So he ended up as our programmer in this particular case. And I think that's the best solution because, again, we want this to be super effective. So while adding general manager would work, we want someone who knows all these aspects. So that's the ideal person. Okay, so let's move this. So once we have all that, we have some people, we have a stable dev tech QA team. They are doing their job. They are providing the technical information. We need to up the game because so far, as I said, this ideally has to serve as a bridge to dev. And okay, they have good communication with them. They know their job, but how does this improve their skills? Not much. Well, there's of course the technical skills, but again, there's something missing. So once we had a stable foundation with people working and our dev teams trusting them. And that was the key issue, because the problem usually was if you ask the developer, hey, can I QA fiddle with your stuff? Yeah, hell no, not gonna happen. So the trust is the key point here. And once we had that, we managed to convince them to start adding, of course, adding some simple dev like junior dev jobs, tasks to mid-level. And of course, the important part here was it's always your tasks first. So you work with them, you provide the information, this is your work. But when you have less work or they need help, you jump in, do more difficult stuff that's more focused on the department. So now, not only the guys like you because you're doing the job that they don't want to. Not only that, you're learning while doing that. And of course, all of this is not a process that you go through half a year. Once we had this stable, we had people that came to us with some development skills, but not enough to get to code positions, and they actually worked for half a year in our tech QA and jumped to the code. But this is the final step. We are closing this gap finally. Now you're working with both sides. You're learning this tool. You're providing for the company. So you're not that way. You're not sitting. This is not like a special program that someone will be spending time with you. You waste a resource that some developer need to sit with you, teach you. That doesn't really improve much. It is good to add this if you have some free time and like to speed process. But in generally, this process has like natural evolution. So you're growing yourself while helping the project. So we have this gap close. So in general, what are advantages? And this is some advantages over, how much time we have? Okay, quickly. Some advantages over hiring new guys from other companies or new guys. So first of all, they will know the structure. They know the people that they work with. They know the project tools. They communicate greatly with QA. And most importantly, because they handle the task, they handle the problems, they know what kind of issues can come in and are better prepared for this. And I need to get quickly with this because we are running out of time. And the QA basically likes them more. Because this is not a new guy. This is a guy, I worked with him. He was, by the way, teaching me how to get this statistic, those stats. I couldn't get them, he helped me. And the documentation they wrote serves all the department along the way. So this is not like one-sided program. This is a program, you want to get something from us, you want to get higher up, provide. You provide it, then you get whatever you want. This is the best outcome. Now quickly, where's the catch? So the problem, for example, we had is we are slowly running in some departments with people who won't actually move in certain directions. Because actually the plan was so successful that we moved a lot of people to dev positions and we are starting to lacking. And we try to push them. If they are good, we push them. We don't hold the people. That's our policy, which makes some dev QA department quite thin. But that's better for them, better for, I think, everyone. You might not have tasks for dev QA. I've heard that a lot. You have dev QA, but there's not much work. But that's a movable position. If needed, they can do, as I've said, a bit of developers work, or can they move back and help QA? And additionally, I said mentoring is not mandatory, but adding this helps speed things up. And this is a long process. This can take a year. We've honed it, I think, the perfect results we had around 2 years, 1.5 year, when the process was so good that we actually could quickly move people around. Of course, from the beginning, it provided, but as I've said, the beginning are harsh. You need to learn, you need to gather what's necessary, and only then you can move up. Okay, because next person is waiting. I will be hanging around the hall if any of you wanted to. Sorry for not leaving up enough time for questions. But I will be standing there. If you have some questions, just come to me and ask. I'll be happy to answer them. Again, sorry for dragging this so long. Need to take more time next year.